All right. Woo! Let's go. We're doing this again, baby. Let's go. All right. How do I intro this one? Critical role. I can't do that. I don't have anything like Critical Role to put on my shelf either. Anyway, hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Locke's Thoughts, where I actually have to go close my window because I'm mentally deficient. So give me a second. Dude, I hope Vax doesn't fucking steal from me. He's got a passion for stealing from cripples. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Locke's Thoughts, where I, Locke, give my thoughts on media that I have been consuming in the past a little bit here. As you can see, I've gotten a new bookshelf since last time, which is rather exciting because Sarah J. Maas broke my last one. This week, we'll be jumping into the exciting world of Dungeons and Dragons, because this time I'm going to be reviewing Kith and Kin by Marika Nightcamp. I think I'm pronouncing that right. We'll see. Leave a comment if I'm not. Vox Machina, Kith and Kin, the first novel set in the Critical Role universe. I have what can only be described as like a love, relationship with Critical Role. I liked Critical Role at one point, and for some reason, it just I just sort of fell off with it. Wasn't my favorite thing in the world anymore. Like I got through campaign 2. Tried to watch campaign 3. Just wasn't for me. And this book, I think, was released. Editing Locke here to let you know that past Locke was wrong. Critical Role campaign 2 ended in June of 2021. Campaign 3 started October of 2021. And this book came out November of 2021. So, campaign 3 was already underway by the time this book came out, and I didn't read it until 6 months after that. So, I'll give you my thoughts now. So I was already on the outs. Me and Critical Role, we were already not seeing eye to eye anymore. So, I went into it with an open mind, and I can safely say I should have never went into it at all. Man, I'm batting 1,000 on books I love on this channel. I love every book I read here. And yeah, it follows Vex and Vax, two siblings, twins, brother and sister, half-elves from campaign 1, the Vox Machina campaign. And it follows them before their time with Vox Machina. And that really puts you in a precarious position as an author. We know where the characters were because we get some backstory stuff in campaign 1 and all that stuff, and there's thousands, there's hours and hours of content that she has to be aware of, because it's she has to write stuff in the past that doesn't contradict stuff that was already said in the present. And so you kind of have where the characters were, where the characters are going to end up, in this gray area where she gets to operate. And you can't really do much because you know where the characters have to end up, but you also can't change much beforehand because you know where the characters were. So you're sort of in this weird twilight zone of trying to write. And I don't know, that's not a place that I would really enjoy writing. Talking about where the characters were, we get some of that. So this book is structured in a very interesting way. We have 2 point of view characters. We have Vaxalant and Vexalia, the 2 characters who the book is about, and we flip-flop between their perspective. But we also get flashbacks to when they were children with their father, who wasn't really great to them. They were half-elves in an elven city, and they were bastard children because I think, it's not they were living with their human mother in a village, and then they get swept away to the elven city of Singorn, where their father raises them. There's tension there because their father doesn't really like them because they're half elves, and there's this whole subplot there, but it doesn't really get explored because you jump between the main plot and the flashbacks. It's just 2 chapters, 1 chapter, 2 chapters, 1 chapter, 2 chapters in the main story, 1 chapter flashbacks. And it doesn't really it doesn't serve the story well, because a lot of the times the author will like do something in a flashback chapter, and then you're like, oh, there's parallels now. Look at how deep it is, because like it's right in your face. I don't know if this book needed to be longer or shorter, because if you take all the flashback stuff and you put it at the beginning as like one cohesive story, you then get to a point where like you can draw parallels back to it, but it doesn't feel like as like hitting you over the head with it, which I felt like it did a lot. His book also didn't know who it wanted it knew who it wanted the villains to be. And it wanted it to be like sort of ambiguous, but because you get both perspectives of Vex and Vax, and they get separated super early on between two factions, you kind of get to make your own decision pretty quickly, and it's not like there's a lot of gray. There's the people who are bad, and there are the people who are good, and the people who are good are like oppressed, and they have to live in caves. And so like you're like, oh, okay, maybe the people who aren't putting the other people and forcing them to live in caves, maybe, just maybe, the cave people are the good ones and the people who kick them out are the bad ones. Maybe. I'm not spoiling anything here because guess what? It's pretty on the sleeve. It is. It's on the sleeve. It's on the sleeve there. Oh, hold on. Oh yeah, look there it is. That's Marika Nightcamp putting the story on his sleeve. I read this book about 6 months ago, and what I found is that, man, there's weird parts that stick with me, but I'll get back to the parts that stuck with me. And, you know, it's really, like, fandom is a funny thing. I was going through some, like, an interview the author did, and I went through some, like, reviews online of the book, and it's very interesting, the difference of opinion between like the 2 and 3 star reviews and the 4 and 5 star reviews. Like the people who read this book, who are huge critters, like Critical Role fans through and through, diehard Critical Role, they went to see the campaign launch in theaters, despite the fact we were still living in unprecedented times. Run the clip.
Going forward, we are going to be sticking to pre-recording our games. I know we all miss our live broadcast days, but with all of us still being in unprecedented times, and we are. Oh, and if you are interested in viewing our premiere in a theater with other critters, we are happy to announce that we have partnered with Cinemark for a handful of special screenings in the United States.
It just like they're gonna give this book a 5 out of 5. Doesn't matter. Like they love it. It's fucking their cup of tea. And then there are the reasonable people who are like, I like Critical Role. This book wasn't great. And you know what? Those are the people that I really agree with. It was like an average read overall, but it's really banking on the recognizability of Critical Role and the two characters on the cover. Like, I feel like if you're walking through Barnes & Noble or your local bookstore and you see this book and you'd pick it up and you'd go, oh, hey, this might be interesting. And let's just look at the explore the past of Critical Role's daring half-elf twins, Vixalia and Vaxeldad, and the original prequel of their adventures with Vox Machina. And like, if I read that, I would go, and I didn't know what Critical Role was, I'd be like, this is not for me. Man, it's not a great time. It's certified average, mediocre at best. Maybe bad. Maybe. Another thing that I kind of want to get into with this is this concept of intertextuality. Now, like, intertextuality, right? Let's take it down to, like, bite-sized word there. Is like self-referential things in a text, right? So intertextuality. So like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like the Marvel movies are intertextual, right? You go, oh, that's Iron Man. I saw him in Iron Man, and now he's in Captain America, and then now he's in Avengers, or Nick Fury really is like the intertextual piece at the beginning of that. But there it was used well, and it was like building to a greater story. But if you have intertextuality to be like, oh, remember this thing? Remember these guys? It doesn't really like go over well with me. I just don't like it. I just think you're like trying to pander, and it's not serving anything. And this just felt like intertextuality, the book. Marika Nightcamp, in one of the flashback chapters, is illustrating how Vaxel Dan began his career, his life of thieving. Right? He's like singing around. He's a cut purse, like, oops, sorry. I'm stealing your money. Right? And we get a little insight into how he started. He wanted to buy a bow for his sister because she's like, oh, this bow is so cool. I want to get it. It's such a cool bow. And then, so Vax is like, okay, I'm going to start stealing money. And he like goes to steal money from a person who he thought was bullying him in school. Because guess what? He was bullied. A little bully boy. And so he sneaks up on him. And he goes like, steal their money. But turns out it wasn't a person from the school who bullied him. It was a girl who was also a thief that was like, hey, if you don't want to get caught, I'm going to teach you. Because that's something that a known thief would, like someone who was just thieving would do. They'd be like, I'm going to make you a better thief and we're going to be best friends. I actually have these pages marked because there's an interesting development that happens later on. This is from page 138, chapter 16. It was a dangerous pastime in a city brimming with magic, but Vax had only ever been caught once, the very first time he stomped around the market, when he foolishly tried to lift a few pieces of silver from a girl a little older than he, certain she'd been one of the bullies at school. Instead, the girl had turned out to be a weaver's apprentice by day and a petty thief by night. Serial had grabbed Vax's wrist, dragged him into a corner, and told him that if he wanted to attempt thievery, he should at least know some tricks of the trade. Over the next night, and several nights after, they became the only lessons in this cursed city Vax had ever paid attention to. But because Serial taught him ways to hide and be invisible, while at the same time being the first person since his sister to see him. So like there's like a little like romantic subplot in the flashbacks that doesn't work out, because guess what? He's not with her in the future. Silly goose, you little silly boy, silly boy. You thought they were going to be together? No, they won't, because you already know, because we're in the future already and she ain't around. But anyway, we cut to later to them going out to thieve on a night, right? Vax pushed himself to his feet. I think Lathra, the weaver whose shop they're in, would be disappointed if you left it at this. Well, we can't have that. Serial leaned on the table as she followed suit. She grabbed a pair of wooden crutches and used them to steady herself. The myrtle wood was finely carved with flowers and leaves and branches circling the crutches from top to bottom. At the very last moment, she also snatched a half-filled coin purse from the table. She reached out for a quick kiss. Don't think I was lying about that hot cocoa, though. First of all, I have a question. Where's the cocoa from? Hello? This is in like a temperate coniferous forest. Like this is equivalent to like Appalachia, where they are with the forest. Where are they getting cocoa from? I mean, there's magic, so who knows? But like cocoa, that's a pretty tropical plant. What are we doing with that? I don't know. Not me. Did I write this book? No. Robert Jordan renamed tobacco and coffee. Tobacco and coffee to tobac and calf. But don't worry. We got some hot cocoa. All right. That wasn't the part that I got hung up on, right? Because I opened this up with Vax talking about thieving. He's a little thieving boy. He's taken some money from the snobby elves of Singorn. He's taken it from them. He's stealing that money. And who's teaching him to steal that money? Someone he tried to steal from, right? This man tried to just steal money from originally, who caught him and was like, I'm going to teach you. That's a little unbelievable. They'd be like, they wouldn't have said anything. They would have been like, hey, give me back my money. And he would have run off, and that would have been it, right? But also, she's on crutches. And not like, oh no, I stubbed my toe crutches. Like nice, finely made crutches that you assumedly use all the time. So Vax stole from a disabled person. Vaxildan, hero of the realm, defeater of briarwoods and dragons, slayer of eldritch beings, and by that I mean like gods, right? Got his start by going, that girl over there, I go to school with her. Also, the person I go to school with also has similar crutches. But you know what? She bullied me. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to steal from the disabled person. That's what I'm going to do. That's like, man, I read this book like 6 months ago. And that's the one thing that like has stuck with me is that this little boy, this little bisexual boy, right? He thought, I'm gonna steal from a disabled person. That's what I'm gonna do. They got a limp. Good, better, easier target. I'm taking their money, right? Their money, my money now. Fucking Christ alive! I can't believe that made it through the editing process. Like, did nobody like think about the context of this? Like, it blows my mind that nobody was like, hey, is he stealing from someone with a disability? Are we like really going to do this? Is this really how we're going to introduce how Vaxel canonically, this is canon in universe. Next time you're watching Legends of Vox Machina, or you're watching Critical Role and Vaxildan gets brought up, right? Next time, just think about the fact that this man began his whole roguish endeavors by stealing from a disabled person. Just leave that out there. I think that this book is severely propped up by the fact that it was a Critical Role book. If this was any other book where there was no prior knowledge of these characters, it would be a mediocre book, would not get much attention. And yeah, it's just not, I would not recommend, even if you're a Critical Role fan, I would not recommend this book. But it did well enough that we got a second one, Lucian and the Nine Eyes. I own it. Not on my shelf right now. It's in my to-be-read pile. But yeah, so I'm going to read that. We'll see how it goes. I hope it's fucking better. I hope it's better. I really do. I want Critical Role to succeed. I own like 3 Critical Role. I own the Vox Machina Origin print from Dark Horse. I own the Chronicles of Exandria, the Mighty Nine. I own their Explorer's Guide to Wildmount. I own their original Taldora campaign guide. Like, I want Critical Role to be good and I want to enjoy it, but they just make it so hard. They make it so hard for me. Well, I hope you enjoyed my rambling thoughts and my explosive tirade against Vaxildan. I'm going to try to get these out more frequently. Who knows? We'll see. But if you like it, subscribe. If you enjoyed it, leave a like. If you didn't enjoy it, still leave a like. Leave a comment if you think that what I said is completely wrong and fictitious and not great. And I'll see you guys next time.